Hey guys, FrozenStag here, and welcome to a Britannia Hotseat overview. I haven't done one of these in fucking ages. The last time I did one of these was on the 21st of October 2021, and that feels like a lifetime ago. Which isn't really, it's only about 4 months ago. It's not a massive, it's not that long ago, really, is it? But I still feel it just feels ages ago. But yeah, for the next probably a while, the next few Saturdays there will be a lot of Hotseat reviews, because when I went on my big break, there was a lot of Hotseats that finished, and obviously because I wasn't away, but because I wasn't doing YouTube at the time, I couldn't do them, and the Hotseat just ended, and it ended to the point where I sort of just, yeah, that's fine, it ended, and I just left it and said, yeah, I'll do a Hotseat overview eventually. And now the time has finally come, as the channel slow but surely gets back on its feet, and more content continues to come out, or continues to be produced. It's time to get back in the swing of Hotseat reviews. Now, there's a lot of coming, and I know this isn't really to do with the video at hand, but I will go through and explain what's going to happen, what you can expect very shortly. At least for the next Saturdays, anyway. So obviously today is the War of the Six Kings Britannia Hotseat, which is the 5th Britannia Hotseat we did, I think. Whichever, it doesn't really matter. And then after that, we've got a Last Kingdom Hotseat mod, the Last Kingdom mod, a Hotseat for that, which is pretty cool. Then I had another America's Hotseat, not the current one, just the one that ended, the second one, I believe. We have a Teutonic Hotseat, we have a Crusades Hotseat. The Teutonic Hotseat is using actually the enhanced Teutonic mod I did ages ago. And then the Crusade Hotseat is a scenario where it's set during the Third Crusade. Because I think the Third Crusade. Because I think the current Crusade's time period is a bit before that. I think the Second Crusade possibly. And after that we got a Age of Petty Kings Hotseat which ended, so that's coming. So, an Ice and Fire Total War Rebellion, Ice and Fire Total War Blackfire Rebellion Hotseat as well. Then we've got a Stainless Steel Hotseat, and then a Third Age 4.0 Hotseat coming as well. So that's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got like at least 9 Saturdays of Hotseat overviews, including today. So strap in, it's going to be quite the ride. After we've done the Hotseat overviews, I'll probably go and look into doing some campaign overviews, battle overviews, installation guides, that stuff I haven't done in like ages. So it'd be nice to get back into that, because I miss doing that. Even though I wouldn't say I've enjoyed, I wouldn't say I've desperately missed it, but I would still say I've missed doing those types of videos. But anyway, this Hotseat is called War of the Six Kings. This is actually using a mod, a Barons Alliance mod, that's what it's called. And essentially this mod, it changes a few things on the campaign map, and you'll see in the time-lapse. And it also makes the Barons Alliance a playable faction. There's a few things in this mod which is a bit odd, such as some units having 100 and something people in it, like catapults, and cavalry units having loads and loads of troops. I think there was also an issue with battle maps, I think playing the battle usually crashed the game, or something happened. I think it might be another mod, but yeah. But anyway, without further ado, let's get on with who's playing the various factions. Playing England, we have Jimmy Dude. Playing the Barons Alliance, we have Sheep Whisperer. Playing Wales, we have Potato, otherwise known as MTExplore. Potato is his nickname, and MT is his actual username. Or MTExplore. It's MTExplore. I don't know why it's just not MTExplore. I don't know. Playing Scotland, we have Migreo. Or Migreo. You can correct me on how to pronounce that. I don't know. Playing Ireland, we have Wolf. And playing Norway, we have Obizzle. So, without further ado, let's get on with the time-lapse. It's been a while since I said that, but let's begin. And there you have it. The song was fitting, considering England won, and yeah. So yeah, England pretty much killed everybody. Funny enough, prior to this hot seat beginning, Jimmy said to me, I think it was towards the end of, I think it's from a hot seat overview I did, where I think the last 4 hot seat overviews, England kept getting their ass kicked, or some cases England might have just been exiled to Norwich, and and in which case, and the only reason they were exiled because they went first in the turn order. And if you're unfamiliar, if a faction goes, if say England goes first in the turn order, which usually is in Britannia hot seats, and if that faction were to die, so say if England died, then you sort of lose the ability for everyone else to quick save, and the quick save is quite useful in hot seats, especially when you need to reload to do to get spies in settlement and things like that. So yeah, Jimmy. After that hot seat overview, I think it was the 4th Britannia hot seat we did. I think this is the 5th. I'm not really sure. Jimmy said to me, he was like, "Okay, I'll play England next time around in whatever hot seat, whichever Britannia hot seat you do." And he said to me, "Oh, well, I can't entirely quote this because this was ages ago. I can't quite remember it." But Jimmy said to me, he said, "I'll win this hot seat," or something along that line. He'll win the Britannia hot seat as England, and he said he'd kill everyone. Maybe not. I don't think he said kill everyone. I think he just said, I'll make sure everyone dies. Or he'll win the hot seat, basically. And as you can see, Jimmy, his promise was in good faith, and yeah, Britannia, he certainly won this hot seat, as you can see. I did go ahead and, I can't remember, I think a few settlements of rebels. I think I did cheat a bit just to, I cheated later on just to make sure to take the last settlements. And to end this video off, we will take Kirkwall. I did debate into fighting this battle just because I can't remember though if there's a crash to desktop if you fight battles in this, because this hot seat was auto resolve. It was auto resolve only, I believe. But you could fight manually against rebels. So yeah. Let's start a bit of history. Straight away, I think fairly early on in the hot seat starting, most of the players, like Wales, Ireland, Scotland, Norway, and Barons Alliance, were pretty much in agreement that that they were going to go into like a defensive pact against England, and they didn't quite save them, sadly. Jimmy is, compared to a lot of the players in this hot seat, a very experienced player. And he will put a lot of players in this hot seat to shame. And I don't mean to be rude to any of the players that lost, but I'm just gonna say how it is. You lost, and Jimmy's just the better player. That's all I can really say. So yeah, Jimmy certainly won. I don't know how long he's been playing hot seats for. Longer than them, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Jimmy did very well. I don't think there's really much else to say in that part. He did well. Wales, I think, went down in turn 5. I think he took out Wales by, I think it's a regicide. But at the same time, he took the settlements in the same turn, so he could have just killed them. He could have just killed Wales by taking all their settlements. So I'm not 100% sure there, but I remember there being a battle where he killed. I think he might have killed the kings, and I think they killed the 2 family members in Wales, in the fort. I think it was this fort, and then he just went on to kill off the rest of take over the rest of the settlements. He was also attacking Ireland as well in Dublin area. Oh, robbing the merciless. It was also in Ireland kicking Wolf's ass, and eventually I think he beat the crap out of Wolf's armies, and I think Wolf just gave up, and I think I was just admin subbing the faction till they died. Barons Alliance went down pretty quickly. I think Sheep Whisperer, it was very early on it happened. Sheep Whisperer had an army, and I think he sent them down to besiege. It is a while ago, so my information might not be entirely correct. But he sent an army down, and I think Jimmy saw that army and intercepted them and beat the crap out of that army. And I'm pretty sure that's most of the Barons Alliance forces gone. And then after that, he just pushed north, and that was the end of that. Norway did grab a settlement here. I don't know if Norway actually attacked Ireland, or that was when England actually held down Patrick. But I'm pretty sure Norway went and took this. I'm not entirely sure what Norway's goal was this hot seat. I think they were allied with Scotland. But then, yeah, they were allied with Scotland and they attacked. I think they attacked a bit of Ireland or something. I'm not really sure what's going on. But Norway, the last one standing though, so I'll give them that. I think I remember correctly. Obizzle, he had to go somewhere and he couldn't continue playing Norway, so I'm pretty sure MT subbed him. But then didn't MT, wasn't at the time when MT, I might have it wrong, but MT I remember leaving for ages and disappearing. And I think I admin subbed some of their turns, and then I think Obizzle either took over Scotland. I think what happened is that Norway killed off Scotland just so he can get control of Inverness and hold off a bit longer. I think that was the plan. But again, that didn't save them. Because England had a lot of troops pouring up the north. Eventually, they killed the Scots, and Norway soon followed. But Norway did hold off for quite a while, though. But yeah, this mod, as you can tell by the map, the textures of the map is quite different, which looks quite nice. For some reason, this is all cold and icy, but over here, it's it's the other way around for some reason. I don't know why that is, but there you go. So for the armies, obviously I can only show you England's faction. I did actually have a rule on this Hotseat. What was it? Yeah, I had an adoption rule on. Well, essentially you could adopt once, and I think that was, you can only adopt one general if you had. If you had 3 generals, you couldn't adopt any more. You had to adopt. You can only adopt one more general. I think that was the rule. Of course, the adoption rule, I won't probably mention this again in another Hotseat overviews, but adoption rule, what the idea is now, because I figured it out recently, is that, I'm pretty sure Jimmy did something to the adoptions, I can't remember what he did, but I think he made it so they didn't become, I don't know, I think he made it so the generals unit didn't become a, wasn't free upkeep or something or other, I think, I'm not too sure. Like I said, it was a while ago when this Hotseat was done. I set this Hotseat up in, yeah, literally on the 7th of Feb last year, so it's a long time ago. And this Hotseat, I think, ended sometime in August, so it might have been earlier than that, I'm not really sure. It didn't last very long, this Hotseat. It was only up to turn 16. Funny enough. Actually, this will tell me. Yeah, August was when it ended. Yeah, because that's when the last term was sent. Yeah, because it started in... No, I sent the start save out in... Was that... No, this is right. Yeah, because I had a, I think I must have, I think I had, the disc edition of Medieval 2, and I upgraded and bought the, Steam edition. I think I ported the saves over for some reason, I don't know why I did that, but, yeah. As you can see, Jimmy, no, please stop, that was very funny. Obviously, the Rebels, for those who aren't aware, I do control the Rebels faction. I don't actually play the Rebels faction, it's simply just an admin faction. For maybe if I want to create mini events. I haven't done it with any recent Hotseats. Well, I'm about to do it with the with an upcoming Westeros Total War Hotseat, with some mini events there, but I haven't done it with the old ones. And also, the Rebels is a good point for me to, when you get the Rebels turn, it's also good for me to then check to see if anyone's cheating and everyone's obeying rules, because otherwise, you can't just, because it's a nice little stop point. To have a look, because otherwise you just forget and don't do it, as I found. So yeah, there was an adoption rule. The adoption rule, I got sidetracked. But in future Hotseats, I figured out how to. So when you have the candidate for adoption thing that comes up, I found a way of actually making it so they don't spawn. So if you were to have an adopted general, they won't spawn with any traits, ancillaries, or anything at all. They will obviously have their own. They have their own portrait and name and age and all that, and that's about it. But other than that, they won't spawn with any traits at all. I don't know if I have any options I can show you. No, but basically, this guy with no command, essentially, that's sort of how. I don't know if I have any good examples here, really. But yeah, but essentially, as an adopted general will show up for be a candidate for adoption and have no traits or anything. So, So they're basically useless. If you want to get a general for their traits, they'll be useless. But from now on, it'll probably be just no adoptions at all. Maybe I might make an and the only way you can get, say if you want an adoption, say if, for example, you've got one family member left, then you can just ask the admin, which will likely be me. And then in which case, and they say to me, oh, I need to adopt because my family's gonna get wiped out. I'll check the faction, see what I can see see how many generals they have left, and see what the situation is. And if I think, and I'll give them the go ahead to adopt a general. But if the rules on adoption are very severe because in certain certain like Hotseats, you have the English family tree here. Let me use another example. Say if you have like, let's say for Westeros Total War, because they have their own set of custom portraits. They don't have Westeros is very like adoptions like doesn't ever happen in the world of Westeros. So adoption just doesn't happen. If adoptions do happen, it just don't at all. There's no mention of adoptions happening in the books at all. I mean, maybe then there might be a bit like how Geralt and Ciri are. Geralt's sort of like a father figure for Ciri. But Ciri isn't Geralt's adopted daughter. She isn't called Ciri of Rivia. No. And it's the same in Westeros. Like, say if you have like the Arryn family, and then you adopt a general, and here there be a general's like called of Bedford or something or other instead of House Arryn. It's a bit odd. And to avoid it looking odd in the family tree, so you have like the house, say, I don't know, Arthur's Arryn, and then you have like a son called James James Belmore or Robert Waynwood or something like that, and it would sort of just be weird having random like someone that should be an Arryn but they're called a Waynwood. It's just really odd. So so essentially the rules in that, if you adopt a general without permission, the rules will be, well, it'll be at least maybe one grand fine if you do it once, and if you did it again it'd be a 10 grand fine. But one of the main big punishments would be that you would be made to replay your turn regardless, and that would also cause a bit of trouble for other players because they might have to, say if like England adopted them and they shouldn't have done, and Scotland and Norway had already played, they'd also have to replay their turns. It's how it works. And the whole point of that, yes, it will probably piss off people, but the whole point of that is to stop people doing it. Because if it's just like a case of, oh, here you go, 1k is a grand fine, and some players might have like 24k and be like, that's fine, and they won't bother. But if they just keep doing it, then there's, and obviously they'd be kicked from the hot seat if they just continue to piss me off. But there be no like sort of massive repercussions for doing it. They just be like, oh, okay, I can just adopt whatever. Oh, I'm gonna get as a 1 grand fine, and that's it. But making you replay the turn would piss you off, and it would stop you doing it. Because why are you replaying the turn if you can just not do it? And then some players might also be a bit pissy because, oh, I've got to now replay my turn because this person adopted. And I hope that their annoyance will be put towards the player for making them replay the turn, because it's not really my fault if because look, if it's in the rules that don't adopt, okay, it's in the rules, I won't adopt. But if they disregard the rules and just, if they break a rule, it's their fault. It's not. Maybe you could say it's partly the admin's fault for making it a rule, but really, that's just a poor argument. Sorry, but if you're gonna disregard, if there's a rule that's in the hot seat and you're like, okay, I'm gonna just do my own thing and ignore the rule, then you're gonna pay the consequences for fucking up. So I don't think it's really down to the admin for putting the rule in, and then players are like, oh, we're just not do that. Like it's entirely down to the player for fucking up, and it should be up to them to pay the consequences. Sure, it might be a bit sucky that other people might have to pay for it, but it would just make that guy will then get heat for it, and people will just say to him, "You bastard, you've now made me replay my turn." Then that player will then be more than happy, more than dissuades away from doing the rule again, because he'll get people on his ass calling him names and shit. So yeah, that's my thing for adoptions and rules in general. If you break a rule, it's your fault, and I don't care. So yeah, one odd thing about this, yeah, like I said earlier, is that for some reason the male knights have 150 men, which I don't know why that is. And I think I saw it earlier, artillery somewhere. Where was it? I saw an army somewhere and it had artillery in it, probably here. Yeah, the general's bodyguards have 70, I think, is the highest, or 60, or whichever it is. Where's the, yeah, 62 buzz. No, hang on. I saw another one somewhere. I think it's in the fort somewhere. I think it's a rebel fort or rebel army. Where is it? Tell you what, I'll just do this and be quicker. I'm pretty sure it was in the rebel fort, but I have no idea. There you go, 84. Yeah, here we go. Trebuchet, 150 people in a trebuchet. Why? I don't know why that was ever a thing, but in this mod. But if I could figure out how to change the amount of soldiers in a unit, I would. But I didn't know at the time, and I don't really know now. Of course, if I had a bit of time, I'd look at. If I was to do this mod again, I'd probably look into changing it. But I don't know. We'll figure that out if I do a hot seat again, I suppose. But I don't know. There's a chance we might do this mod again, but I'd have to fix a few of the balancing issues, such as cavalry and having 150 units. That's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a bit stupid. Yeah, I don't know if we will. It's one of these things. There's a lot of mods out there that I'd love to do hot seats for, but I've done a hell of a lot of Kingdoms hot seats to the point where it's just like, oh my god, I don't want to do another one. Well, I wouldn't mind doing another one, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do another one. Because I'd rather do something else like DAC or some various Westeros style war hot seats. But yeah, I don't think there's really more else to say. Obviously, he's got a lot of agents. As you can see, there's a fuck ton of spies. Controls every single settlement apart from Orkney, which I'll take in a minute. King Henry, obviously the family tree, got King Henry. The Merciless, who's pretty badass. Prince Edward, who's also pretty badass. And would eventually well, obviously not in this timeline, but he would have become the... obviously he, later on, would become Prince Edward I, Hammer of the Scots, but that never happened. He married his princess off to this guy. His other son, Edmund, came of age. Not the best of generals, but it's not that bad. And then he had one of his adoptions, which was James the Merciless. So, yeah. So, yeah. There's anything else to really say? No. Not really. He had a big fleet. He had some ships over here. There's one big... I call it a Doom fleet, pretty much. With hulks, mercenary cogs. So wasn't there a gun hulk somewhere? Oh, no, it's not yet. No, there's been no gunpowder yet, so I'm pretty sure that's the biggest fleet he had around. Admiral... where is it? It's Admiral Arthur, that's it, I'm pretty sure. This is a bigger fleet somewhere around, I'm pretty sure that's it. That's just one big fleet. But as you can see, a lot of ships around. And yeah, the music for this was probably a thing. It was, obviously, England... Obviously, for the grand lore, I would say, for the grand history of this sort of scenario, if England had taken up the British Isles so early, I'm pretty sure that the British Empire would have been the thing a bit earlier. Like, it may have been a bit like how Spain was, perhaps, when Spain took over the Americas so quickly. I think Britannia, or the British Empire would have taken over Britannia, not Britannia, would have taken over North America a lot quicker than they did historically. And probably rivaled the Spanish a bit more than they did, I think. Definitely. Obviously, how well the Brits... Obviously, England will have had some issues controlling the people. Like Aberdeen and Perth's already up in rebellion at the moment. So I think there would have been revolts and things going on with England's control of the British Isles. And obviously the music... I had to... It had to like a British Empire song. I just sort of had to. England taking over the British Isles, and yeah, because it would eventually historically it would have led to a stronger British Isles, and probably the British Empire would have rose a bit quicker. I mean, maybe with all the British Isles combined, they might have taken over France or something, perhaps. That's not. I guess that could be a thing. So yeah. But yeah, so it would have been an interesting scenario had Britain actually had England formed or taken over all the great British Isles in the year 1273. That would have been quite interesting, I think. But anyway, to end this off, we shall take... well, I won't do a battle because the video will just go for ages. Captain Frederick, the last of the Scots. Imagine we lost. That'd have been funny. No, victory is ours. And there you go. And there you go. Yeah, I thought I'd show the cutscene. This is to Jimmy, because obviously he did this. Nope. It's not again. Can I? I can. Yay, I can. Let me just turn the volume down a minute. Your kind and bold leadership has led your people to become the undisputed masters of the British Isles. All neighbouring kingdoms on the Isles that did not bend the knee were destroyed, and all rebels have been squashed, and their heads are now displayed proudly on your ramparts. You have successfully achieved that which your ancestors dreamed. Your name will be remembered as the one that brought peace to a bloody realm, and unified territories Caesar himself had failed to do. So yeah, and obviously that ends the video. That ends the whole campaign. So if you never won a campaign before, it basically sends you to the main screen because you've done everything. There's nothing really for you to do. I mean, sure, maybe you might want to like sit there and just end turn, and just see what happens, I suppose. But yeah, for the average player, that would be game over. But yeah, that ends this video off. I'm sorry if I went a bit all night longer than I would have planned to. I tend to do that. But I wanted to be a bit long because I haven't done a hot seat overview in a while. I sort of wanted, because there's been a lot of changes in the hot seating on my Discord since the last time I did a hot seat overview. Obviously, I'm doing the Westeros Total War hot seat. There will probably be either, depending on what this poll wins, and you'll find out on Saturday. Well, when you're watching this, the poll would have finished, so I probably would have done an announcement on Discord at some point, probably after I finish, come back from work that day. Probably later in the evening, because I'm going out for dinner as well on that Saturday. There probably would have been a little announcement of starting a new hot seat, which right now, I can't really say what it is, can I, really, because that would sort of spoil the vote, and I don't really want to I don't want people to know the results of the vote until the poll has ended. However, I will say, right now, it's currently in a draw. I will say that. There's currently a draw between two options, and that's all I'm going to say. If you want to vote in the poll, you can find it on my video I did last week. Was it last week? Yeah. Last Saturday I did a hot seat poll, so just go to that, click on the description, go to the description of the video, and you'll find a link that will take you to the vote. But yeah, there's been a few changes. Obviously, there's Westeros Total War hot seats coming out, and there's a lot going into it, such as a lot of hot seat, lots of RP rules, so role-playing decision, and there's a few more restrictions on what players can do. So players can't just join one big alliance and win the hot seat, because that'd just be boring. So there's a lot of RP decisions, a lot of RP rules, there's a lot of role-playing veto conditions. You can't just kill everyone, and that's the hot seat one. You have to sort of do a few more stuff. And that hot seat will probably be a lot of work to go into that one in terms of rules that you will see. And I just think the overall quality of that hot seat will be superior to pretty much every single other hot seat I've done before. So yeah. And the adoption rule, it will probably be a recurring feature in most hot seats, unless there's a hot seat where it doesn't really work for whatever reason, then in which case I'll just let hot adoptions run rampant. But in some hot seats, especially Westeros Total War hot seats, where you have a lot of generals anyway, and a lot of those generals, when you're, say if like House Stark gets wiped, say if Robb Stark and Bran Stark get killed in the War of the Five Kings scenario, in most cases, another house tends, or another general, or like say, I think it's Roose Bolton becomes the warden, becomes the lord, becomes faction leader in some cases, which is quite funny. Which does happen because there are actually family trees where other factions do take over, so it isn't really game over for some people, some other factions, which I quite like. But of course, if there's scenarios where the family trees of people are going to die out, then all you need to do is contact the admin, which would be myself or somebody else. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be admin for every single hot seat going forward. I might have to cut down on that. But if people ask, say, oh, I think my faction's gonna die out, then I'll look into it. I'll do a quick test run to see if their faction will run out, or if it might go to another family in the faction, and go from there. And then maybe I might allow them to adopt. So yeah. So I won't entirely say completely no to adoptions, but if you do want to adopt, you have to contact me or one of the admins directly. Don't just adopt without permission, because you will pay the consequences. But anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's a bit long, but again, in future hot seat overviews, I'll try and keep them short and simple if I can. It's just sometimes I just go on a bit longer, and well, that happens. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and farewell.